Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, the Coast Guard is looking for a man who went missing in the Gulf of Mexico near New Orleans with ties to Port Lavaca. And 3 more candidates enter the race for mayor of Victoria. We have the details this afternoon. Plus, we go to Dallas, where authorities are searching for a suspect linked to the deaths of 4 people in a weekend shooting.
Just a few little clouds rolling through, otherwise a pretty nice day, wouldn't you say? We've got beautiful weather for most of this week in the mid-70s, but there's chilly weather on the horizon. We'll tell you when you'll need your coat a little bit later on, so stick around.
Plus, U.S. Customs and Border Protection suspend operations at a port of entry in Arizona. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Karina Garcia. Family members of a 50-year-old Port Lavaca man are waiting for news after he went missing this weekend on a shrimp boat in the Gulf of Mexico near New Orleans. Felipe Lozano was working on a commercial fishing boat. The captain reported the incident around 2 a.m. Saturday. It happened near Port Fortune, where the Coast Guard is currently searching that area. In Victoria County, sheriff's deputies arrested a suspect after Sunday's migrant bailout on FM 236 near Winter Lane. 36-year-old Rod Flores of Fresno is charged with human smuggling. He is in the Victoria County Jail, but no bond has yet been set. Now, a 4th candidate has joined the race for mayor of Victoria. Dwayne Crocker, a current city council member, has joined the race, filing the paperwork needed this Monday morning. Crocker once ran for mayor of Victoria but was unsuccessful. Now today is the final day to enter the race, as this mayor's special election is scheduled for February 3rd of this coming year. And the first candidate to enter the race for mayor of Victoria was District 2 council member Josephine Solis. The second was Carissa Winters. She listed her occupation as community leader. And Robert Bob Constance entered the race Saturday. He listed his occupation as chief operations officer on his ballot application. 2 more Victoria candidates entered the race Monday afternoon. The city secretary said Jacob Sauceda does still qualify but cannot spend or accept money for his campaign until he files the appointment of a campaign treasurer for him. Now, Peter Brown also threw his name in the ring. He listed his occupation as project manager on his application. Now, leaders at Victoria Regional Airport say for the first time in about a decade, the goal of 10,000 planes departing in a year from the airport was reached in November. This makes Victoria Regional eligible for an additional $1 million from the FAA. That money would go to improvements and new developments at the airport. County leaders say improvement plans for Victoria Regional in the coming years include new and improved runways and a new terminal building, along with an emergency response complex. And with that, let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac, it's good to be back, and I'm hoping we get more weather like this in the coming days.
Well, folks, if you didn't know, our dear friend here was under the weather. Really under the weather.
Ooh,
so we're glad to have you back, Karina. We had a beautiful day today. A few little high clouds sort of drifting through, but yes, today is going to be good all the way to Friday. Saturday, things change, and we may be diving into the closets again looking for our jackets. We'll be talking about your weekend weather coming up in just a moment.
Mac, thank you. A big change at the southern border today. Federal officials temporarily closing down one border crossing in Arizona. All of this comes as across the country, cities are grappling with an increase in asylum seekers.
U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials have suspended operations at a remote border crossing in Arizona. CBP leaders say the closure at the Lukeville crossing will allow border agents to deal with increased levels of migrant encounters. They say is fueled by smugglers peddling disinformation.
They've told us that they've been busier than they ever have been, that they're pulling resources from other areas of the border.
The closure comes after 17,000 migrants were apprehended in the Tucson region in just 1 week. In November of last year, during the entire month, there were 23,000 encounters. Arizona's governor frustrated.
This is a bad decision that impacts our border security. It hurts our economy because it's putting a damper on trade and tourism.
CBP's top official, Troy Miller, recently told us reducing operations at certain ports of entry helps agents manage migrant increases elsewhere.
This is how we manage our operations. We search to those locations we have to for the safety and security of our officers, our agents, the migrants we encounter, and frankly, to maximize the enforcement efforts that we have underway.
CBP also announcing new enforcement operations going after transportation networks that they say are preying on migrants, smuggling them through northern Mexico to the southern border. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A search is underway for a suspect after 4 people were killed in a shooting in Dallas Sunday afternoon. Police say officers found 5 people who were shot when they arrived at the scene, where 3 adults died. A 15-year-old girl and a 1-year-old boy were taken to the hospital where the toddler died from his injuries. The teen is said to be in stable condition as police are searching for the suspect. 4 people were killed in a multi-vehicle crash near Austin Sunday. The crash happened around 4:30 p.m. on State Highway 130 in southeastern Travis County. The Texas Department of Public Safety says a passenger vehicle occupied by a driver and 4 passengers was driving eastbound on Maha Loop Road. At the same time, a dump truck was driving northbound on the Access Road when the 2 vehicles collided. One of the occupants in the passenger vehicle was taken by air to a medical facility, and the other 4 in the passenger vehicle were pronounced dead at the scene. The condition of the driver of the dump truck was not yet clear as the investigation remains ongoing. The Biden administration announced a new financial strike force to combat the deadly fentanyl drug trade. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen made the announcement on Monday. The strike force will crack down on the illegal financial network supporting cartels and drug trafficking. This will be done in part by streamlining personnel and resources across the Treasury Department. The announcement comes on the heels of a deal between the U.S. and China on curbing fentanyl production. Now back in the Crossroads, Port Lavaca's yearly Christmas Festival of Lights parade will be this Saturday night. The parade will start at 6:30 p.m. at the Bayfront Peninsula Park and will end at Sand Crab Stadium. The parade had been postponed due to the Calhoun football playoff game. And of course, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. We take a look at the GOP impeachment against President Joe Biden. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, how this could impact the presidential election. Also ahead, a 70-year-old woman in Uganda gives birth to twins. 48-year-old Jeremy Best of Idaho is suspected of killing his pregnant wife, Callie Randall Best, and their unborn child. A criminal complaint says Best fatally shot his wife, who was about 28 weeks pregnant, late Thursday night. Earlier that same day, deputies encountered Best walking through a store naked and took him to a hospital where he was later released. Then, just before midnight Thursday, the sheriff's office received a call from Best's home where they found Best's wife dead. Jeremy Best and the couple's 10-month-old son, Zeke, were missing. But on Saturday morning, witnesses saw Best sleeping naked on the side of the road, and the infant boy was found dead in that same area. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he thinks Republicans have the votes to launch a formal impeachment into President Joe Biden. Republican leadership says they believe an inquiry vote is necessary, accusing the White House of stonewalling their probe into the president and his son's foreign business dealings.
House Speaker Mike Johnson told Fox News Saturday he believes Republicans have enough support to move forward with an impeachment inquiry vote.
I believe we will. I suspect no Democrats will assist in this effort, but they should.
Johnson faces an uphill battle as he leads with a very thin Republican majority, and he's receiving pressure from the hardline members of his party to show movement in this investigation into the president and his son's foreign business dealings.
A formal impeachment inquiry vote on the floor will allow us to take it to the next necessary step, and I think it's something we have to do at this juncture.
In a statement, a White House counsel's office spokesperson called the probe baseless and politically motivated, adding, quote, "They should be working on real issues Americans actually care about." During an interview with NBC's Meet the Press, Republican presidential hopeful Ron DeSantis said he thinks a Biden impeachment inquiry is justifiable, but added that House Republicans should be cautious ahead of the 2024 elections.
I think they run the risk of doing an inquiry that doesn't necessarily lead anywhere while they've been ignoring a lot of the problems that our voters are talking about. So make sure you're not ignoring all these other issues and don't use that inquiry as kind of a Trojan horse to not then meet your responsibilities on all these other things.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Julia Benbrook.
A 70-year-old woman in Uganda has given birth to twins after receiving fertility treatment, making her one of the world's oldest new mothers. She gave birth to a boy and a girl last week via C-section at a medical center at Uganda's capital. The Women's Hospital International and Fertility Center is also where the woman received fertilization treatment. She is also not the world's oldest mom, as a 73-year-old woman in southern India gave birth to twin girls following the same treatment back in 2019.
We as the hospital, we also believe that age is just a number, but we have to go ahead and do the assessment.
The new mom admitted that her life hadn't been easy so far, but she says she believes God would take care of her little family. Now, nearly half of all adults in the U.S. have high blood pressure, but a recent study suggests some people may be misdiagnosed with hypertension because of the way in which their blood pressure is taken.
In the U.S., nearly 120 million adults have high blood pressure, but recent research suggests some of them may be misdiagnosed.
If you don't get an accurate reading, you don't know what you need to do, whether it be to intensify therapy, reduce therapy, or even if somebody's hypertensive.
In research presented to the American Heart Association, Dr. Randy Wexler with Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says millions of people with normal blood pressure may be told their levels are too high because the patients are not in the proper place or position during the reading.
That leaves open the possibility that there are either a lot of people being diagnosed with high blood pressure who may not actually have it, or you have somebody who has high blood pressure and is controlled, but you're intensifying therapy, which may not need to be intensified.
American Heart Association guidelines call for patients to be seated in a chair with their back supported and feet flat on the floor, wearing the blood pressure cuff at heart level. 30 minutes before the blood pressure check, there should be no smoking, no caffeine, and no exercise. The patient should also sit still for 5 minutes beforehand.
It doesn't take a lot of change in blood pressure to have large impacts.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Texas is on the verge of making illegal border crossings a state crime. The Texas Tribune has what you need to know, and we have their full story on our website, crossroadstoday.com.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. 68 degrees. Yeah, I'm sure you agree it was a beautiful day, right? Well, we're looking for more beautiful days. Our actual high was actually 73. We're going to be running about 5 to 8 degrees above our average for this time of year. You know, it's December now. Should be getting cooler. Well, it will get cooler at the end of this week, and we'll have that forecast coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. I bet you guys spent the weekend putting up decorations, right? That's what I did. And at least the weather, you know, was cool and comfortable and not hot. We've got a couple of very nice days coming up. We're going to be in the mid 70s, a little bit warmer than normal. This looks rather ominous, but it's not really enough low-level moisture to trigger anything. So just a few clouds passing through. Otherwise, we've got some quiet weather. In fact, even this storm is going eastward, is not going to affect us. The reason is high pressure is building over the deserts of the Central Plains and our area, and so that is going to block any kind of storm moving into our direction. Now this one out here is another one of those big, huge Pacific storms. This one's going to roll in and give the West Coast a once-for in the next couple of days. About 7 days from now, we may have that frontal system sort of drift through here with some cooler temperatures, which we're looking for by the time we get to the weekend. Now, out here is where the high pressure is located. You can see how it sort of migrates, and for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, everything is going to be riding up and over. And until that thing gets out of the way, that's pretty much how we'll be protected. But that northwest storm is going to be another snowstorm for much of the Rockies, which is good. They've been in a drought just as well. And then we'll watch and wait to see what it actually does in the Central Plains. But it's not a, okay. When it comes from the Arctic, boom, that's the really, really bitter cold. When it comes from the Pacific, that's cold, but a little bit more moderated temperatures. So, you know, I don't see a, you know, hard freeze or anything like that, but it will get chillier by the time we get to the weekend. So down to 48 tonight, up tomorrow to 73. Lots of sunshine. If you need to be doing anything outdoors, you're just going to have a real pretty day, and that's going to continue all the way through probably Saturday before things change. For those of you who have a chance to go a little fishing, northeast winds 5 to 10. They've settled down, so everything's settling down as well. 2-foot seas and bays are running smooth at this hour. For those of you in Port Lavaca, 53 in the morning, 72 in the afternoon. Partly cloudy, mostly sunny. I don't think you'll have a problem with tomorrow. 45 in Cuero and up to 73 with fairly light winds out of the northeast. So we take a look at the long term. So we're going to call it nice, mild, nice, mild, nice, mild. Even Friday looks really good for anything you have planned outdoors. But on Saturday, we will warm up to 76. The front comes through, and then we'll only have a high of 60, 61 Sunday, Monday, and getting down into the low 40s as nighttime low temperatures. So yeah, it'll get chilly by the end of the week, but for most of this week, you got no problems at all. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have the QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Karina.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a last look at your stocks, plus Ford recalls 45,000 vehicles, including some right here in Texas. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow down 41 points, the S&P 500 down 25 points, and the Nasdaq down 119 points. There are multiple vehicle recalls out right now, with 45,000 Fords topping the list. Ford is recalling its 2015 Fiesta, its 2016 Fusion, and 2016 Lincoln MKZ. The vehicles were sold or registered in several states, including Alabama, California, Georgia, Hawaii, and Texas. Ford says there's an issue with the inside door locks, which could allow the door to open while the vehicle is moving. Owners can take their cars to Ford dealers for repair at no cost. Chrysler, Jaguar, and Volvo also issued recalls. Amazon is helping some college students get home for the holidays. The company is offering 3,000 of its Prime student members domestic flights for the holidays season for just $25. It's in partnership with Student Universe. The discounted flights will become available at 9 a.m. Eastern Time Tuesday. That's tomorrow. 1,000 flights will be offered each day for 3 days, and members who miss out will be able to get a promotional code worth $25 off any flight. And stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast. Plus, the Guinness World Record attempt for couples kissing falls short over the weekend in Dallas. Plus, here's a look at what's coming up on World News Tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
Tracking rounds of heavy rain, flooding, and snow in parts of the country. Plus, as the U.S. pushes for another truce in Israel, who knew what before the October 7th massacre? More Americans turn to the most watched newscast on television. World News Tonight with David Muir.
Experience our streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. Stream our daily newscasts and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Android TV. Just search Crossroads Today Plus. And finally, a Guinness World Record attempt for the number of couples kissing under the mistletoe fell a little short this past weekend. Teenage friends who run the North Texas charity Jingle Bell Mistletoe tried to outdo themselves and raise money in the process. The group set the record back in 2018 with 340 couples kissing under the mistletoe, but another group surpassed them. Now, yesterday's event in Dallas didn't break any records this time, but it was still a win as more than $87,000 were raised for the North Texas Food Bank. Oh, that's a shame that they fell short, but money was raised.
It was a number of lovebirds that showed up, right? I thought it was like they had to sit there and kiss for hours and hours and hours.
And just peckered lips until the time runs out.
Just pucker up and
just stand there.
And stand there. But this is for the number of people kissing.
The couples, yeah. And I know the weather's looking pretty nice, so
the weather's really nice. It's so nice that you don't want to be at home sick.
I know. Goodness, let me tell you guys, COVID is not fun at all. You are stuck on the couch, you can't move, you don't see people. But look, I was greeted with Christmas when I came back.
Yes, and everything was all set up for you to come back. And that's when your hair hurts. You know, everything hurts.
Everything hurts.
But I'm glad you're well and back.
Thanks,
and
Matt.
getting ready for the holidays. Folks, we got a beautiful week in store. We've got mild weather, temperatures mid-70s all the way through Friday. But on Saturday afternoon, another cold front blows through, and it's going to be chilly beginning on Sunday. The high temperature only 60 degrees and getting down to the low 40s. So, yeah, it's not December's not that far away. And it is now officially December. You left in November.
And I came back in December. It clicked like that. It was a blip.
It went away.
That's right. All righty. Well, thank you, Mac. And thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.